Welcome back to my channel. Now, I just finished a really complicated balustrade for these customers, and they're just great to work for. In fact, I'm paid to say that. They just paid me, so technically I'm paid to say that. But anyway, I'm going to do another railing system here at the bottom of a flight of stairs that goes to the bedrooms and a flight of stairs that goes down to a basement play area. So a couple things I want to point out, and I'll just show you here what complications I'm up against. All right, so I don't know if you can see in the video, but these staircases, the stringers are exactly lapping. So this stringer is totally in line with this stringer here, so there's no gap in between the stair stringers, which poses a problem when you do the railing. So what you want to do is, if you're designing a home or you're building the stairs, then what you want to do is leave somewhere in the area of 3 inches between the two stair stringers on this type of situation. And that way I could return this railing to one post at the bottom of the stairs here with a mitre. And very much like I do for handrails. But that's what you need to do. It needs to be anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches or more space between the stairs in order to achieve that. So because these two sets of stairs are right tight together, we have to put this railing system on this side of the staircase. So the bottom rail and the top rail are going to come onto this post, and they're going to terminate in this piece of oak that's going to be attached to the bottom of this other flight of stairs. Then we're going to have metal balusters between the two railings. And one of the reasons that we have to do this, and you remember me talking about these two stair stringers totally side by each, if this railing was to come up alongside and somehow connect to a post somehow, you can't have that, because you have to have hand space between the railing and any obstruction. So if there's going to be a pinch point in the railing, you can't have that as far as the code goes. All right, so for this flight of stairs, I'm going to attach the newel post centered on the stair stringer that goes up the flight of stairs. And rather than do a half newel and sort of have it hanging in space, I'm going to use a little piece of oak and make what's called a rosette and attach that to the wall, to some structure, and the top rail will terminate on that rosette. There'll be a shoe on this staircase, on the stair stringer, just like we've done in the past. And the other thing I'm going to do is a little bit different, is I don't want to disrupt this rug in order to cut into the stair tread and cut this stair stringer back like I've done a number of times, and I've got videos on that process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mortise in this post, and so I can slide this post over the end of this stringer roughly up to where this rug starts. And that will give me a really solid connection. Then I'm going to, as usual, I'm going to put some lag screws through the front, and I also have the option of putting a screw through this side of the railing. That's the plan. Now, in comparison with all the other newel posts I've done on this job, this one here is the simplest by far. And in fact, maybe the simplest post I've ever installed. We've got a concrete floor with rug on top of it. We've got in-floor heating, so there's no question I can't go into the floor. All I can do here is remove the drywall from the outside of this stringer. It's all finished with drywall, and I've done that, and I'm going to lag and glue the post to the stringer and just, hope that the stair stringer will hold for long term. It looks like a really good solid set of stairs, brand new. So I really have no choice but to attach it this way. I can't even cut into the rug and put it down to the floor because it's a jute-backed carpet with underlay and all that kind of thing. So I've got it perfectly plumb. I've also first post ever that I've not had to cut. This is a 47-inch post, and it is exactly the same height. 36 inches above the rake, comes about here, exactly about 2.5 or maybe 2 5/8 below the top of the post. And the top rail will terminate into the underside of that staircase there. So I'll just take my 3/4 Forstner bit, put a hole up here, and then a hole down at the bottom. And that's a plywood stringer, so it's not going to split. And that should be good to go. Sorry, I can't help myself. All right, so I'll just put a couple of plugs in these holes, stain them up ahead of time. I'm going to take the post off right now, stain it up in the shop, and install it when it's with a finish on it. All right, so I've got the post in and I've got the plate on the underside of the staircase here. And one of the beauties of this situation, I've got my railing clamped on here, and if there's a chance I cut it too short, for example, all I need to do is slide that railing up a notch and it'll fit. Same with the bottom rail. There's going to be a bottom rail here, and I've got it all laid out using the rake of the stairs. I've been using this little ruler here, which is really handy, and it's something you see a lot with UK finishing carpenters. It's a really easy way to lay out your railing heights and that sort of thing. Hold one end of the ruler on the rake line and then mark the 36 or whatever it is height of your railing onto your post. So I'll just carry on with doing this. There's going to be a bottom rail here as well, balusters in between, and when I get up to this section here, I'm going to be reducing the size of my balusters each 4 inches. So now I've simply countersunk the bottom of this railing and used a high quality screw to fasten it to the oak subrail. Ebony colored wood putty will suffice to fill this hole, as this is not a noticeable joint. As usual, I hid screws in the baluster plow wherever possible, as they will be hidden by fillets. I actually didn't use any zip bolt connectors in either staircase, as I was able to utilize screws and adhesive for all my railing joints. My thinking here is to be simple and efficient with my use of fasteners to save time and expense. All right, so yesterday I got these 2 railings installed on the basement staircase, and off camera I installed this shoe so that once I start doing balusters I can continue on and close off this entire area. The code says if there's a place where you can fall off a staircase, then you need what's called a guard, which includes balusters. And in Ontario, they have to be vertical, not horizontal. One of the things I wanted to point out is that you can tell by the groove, how the groove in the railing follows the top of this stair stringer. That's how we know that I'm following the rake of the stairs and have the proper angles involved. All right, so I'm going to start cutting my balusters. I've got my first one marked here at 30.5. I really like this tape measure from FastCap with the whiteboard on it. I use it all the time, write down my dimensions, and I'm not looking for a piece of paper to write on and so on. And yeah, it's a 34-degree angle. I'll cut on this space age looking saw and fence system, available by special order. And yeah, I'm just going to make sure that I find I get little marks in the baluster from the steel chips. So I've got a bit of this foam on my little fence here, just to eliminate that tendency to get the little scratches in the baluster. So I'm just going to try one, and once I get a system going, I'll start cutting them, filing them, and cutting the fillets, and doing the assembly. All right, for this kind of railing, this is where the whole process grinds to almost a halt. So you have to go around this corner, measure each one, and make those smaller until we close this right off. Now, just like any time you go towards the end of a run, you have to make sure you don't build yourself into a place where you can't get the fillets in. So at some point I'll have to transition, put the fillets in here, put a baluster in like so, and then make sure I get the spacing consistent. And once again, I'll remeasure this and see if I need to fine-tune the fillet size to finish off with rather even spacing. So that is that kind of system that you'll run into now and then with a railing that's either underneath a ceiling or underneath a staircase, like as in this case. And I'm just going to finish this drywall off here with a piece of small 1.25" crown molding. It'll look really nice. Now, if you're a carpenter and you don't own a burn one tape measure, buy one from FastCap. It is really an ideal tool for this kind of stuff. I'll just mark my heel of my angle over here and make a cut, and we'll test it out. And if you don't own a marking knife and you're in this line of work, buy one. This is from Lee Valley, and this is just one of the best improvements I've made in my work in the last 6 months. Now, there are a couple of things that I need to cover about the safety aspect of this kind of double staircase situation. Things that are generally covered by the building code, and even if they are not covered by the code, things you need to pay attention to for the safety of folks using your stairs, especially young children and old folks like me that are 65 or older. The first is that anytime you have a place on a staircase that is open and there is a potential for someone to fall off the stairs, you must have a guard, and that is a railing with balusters that prevent someone falling. So a railing by itself wouldn't suffice in the case of this bottom staircase. The second thing of equal importance is that a staircase needs to have a continuous railing from top to bottom for a person to grip while ascending or descending the staircase. And this handrail must be continuous. You can't have a situation where you have to take your hand off and reach for another place to grab. You also can't have a situation where you have to walk a few steps before you can grab the handrail. Hence, you will notice that the top staircase to the bedrooms doesn't have a handrail on the opposite wall, while the staircase to the lower level has a continuous handrail on the side opposite the guard. And that is because the bottom staircase guard is not accessible to grip on the top few steps. Well, I hope this makes sense. I wanted to cover this kind of double staircase situation because it does present some unique problems that need solving. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.